Let me ask you, is there confusion on your software team? Is there rework happening because your engineers build features with incorrect assumptions and requirements? So, my name's Nathan, and I'm an engineer with LaunchWare. I lead software teams and projects, and we help clients solve problems like what I'm describing all the time. And I want to share with you today the practice of refinement, which we like recommending to engineering orgs who are experiencing issues like this. Before we start, I want to mention if you like programming and tech culture topics, please make sure to like this video. It helps a great deal, and subscribe to our channel for more. So, what is refinement? In the planning stage of a project, you, the engineer, will produce planning documents that lay out that 1,000-foot view of the project. And one of those docs is a list of user stories. And a user story is an explanation of the feature told from the perspective of the user. It'll say something like, as a learner, I want the ability to log into my learning platform so that I can access my assigned curriculum. And there's tons of context there, the who, the what, and the why, and that's a lot, but not everything. So when you plan, you have this list of stories, and you've got that 1,000-foot engineering solution, and refinement is the process of taking the story further. And what's missing is the how, not from high up, but on the actual ground. So it's about surfacing details from your planning docs, getting more specific about them, reviewing designs, defining what done looks like. And you document all this helpful context, but not at the time of planning or when you wrote the story, but instead much sooner, to the time that an engineer would start to implement that feature. So the question might be, why refine then? Why refine at all? And you don't really want to be overly prescriptive about implementation details of stories at the time of the initial planning, because between planning and execution, especially for features that are at the end of a project, months could pass. But what happens during that time? Technical complexities come up, business priorities change, scope shifts. Refining a story later on, it's accounting for that context, the here and now in which a story is implemented. So the business reality that exists at 2 weeks to a deadline is different from 6 months. It allows for that flexibility to evaluate the story under a potentially tight timeline or budget. So there are other benefits to refinement as well. Reducing work in progress. What happens if someone is blocked with a half-written feature? They need clarity, and while they wait, they pick up another story. What's the impact when that happens too often? There's a cost to context switching that adds up. So if you shorten execution time, you'll find that there's other side benefits like smaller PRs and reduced Git conflicts as well. So it's also junior friendly, so the additional context will help any junior out. And if your team leads delegate some refinement to juniors, they're forced to think more abstractly about their task, distill the feature down to concise rules, understand knowns and unknowns. And they have to do this eventually, but it can happen after a junior's already written a bunch of code with incorrect assumptions. So refinement is this great way and a good stepping stone into planning for pretty much any team member that's interested. So you might ask, okay, my team's on board, how do I start? And if you're seeing the things that I've described at the beginning of the video, if they're happening on your team, there's probably clarity needed in your backlog somewhere. So you can benefit from starting right away. So when you start with refinement, I would start with minimal effort and build up to a fuller practice. And that allows you to take the time to really learn the types of details that your team members are lacking to accomplish their tasks. And so the question now might be, how do I know if I've been successful in employing the practice? And there are key metrics to look at. It's a good sign if execution time goes down, Do your assignments stay low, or do your engineers have 4 or 5 stories in progress at any one time? With metrics, I do always caution that if you see positive change in the data, you have to eliminate other possibilities of why that change is occurring. So ultimately, I would say it's about how people feel. How do your stakeholders feel? How do your engineering teams feel? Do they feel informed? Do they feel confident going into a story that they have the right information? So team sentiment is going to be your number one indicator. Well, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed the topic today. And if you did and you're seeing pain points like I'm describing on your teams, consider giving LaunchWare a call. We're always happy to chat about how to make your engineering vision a reality. Thank you for watching.